few things to me embody the worst of MAGAism. As much as Marjorie Taylor Greene's conspiracy theories about the hurricanes. And amid all of this tragedy, devastation, now recovery, Marjorie's been a busy bee pushing out nonsense. The normal nonsense we've been hearing about FEMA's response being terrible or only $750 or things that were not based in fact. Attacks against Biden and Harris, all that we addressed before. But then, as we also talked about, Marjorie Taylor Greene accusing the government of controlling the hurricanes to purposefully hit red areas to hurt, I feel dumb saying this, to hurt Trump in the election. It's bad to lie. It's bad to push conspiracy theories. It's even worse when you do it about such serious, severe subjects. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene has been up to. And Bill Maher addressed this in the latest edition of Real Time that I'll play for you.
New rule now that Marjorie Taylor Greene is doubling down on her claim that the Democrats can control the weather. Someone has to ask her, if that were true, wouldn't it be a pretty good reason to vote for the Democrats? I mean, if there are two parties, one that can't control the weather and one that can, I'm going to go with the one that can. You know what campaign ad would really work on me? One that said, when a deadly storm hit Texas, Ted Cruz fled to Mexico. Colin Allred has a different plan. He'll banish the snow and bring sunny skies and low humidity. Colin Allred. He can control the weather.
It's an interesting, obviously a funny joke, but an interesting point. But what I mean is not just that obviously it would be nice to be able to control the weather, but instead that MAGA always acts like, even though we have two political parties, both with a lot of power, both with massive political infrastructures around them, somehow it's only ever the Democratic Party that has this sort of deep state control over things. Somehow the Democratic Party that can steal a presidential election, according to MAGA, with Dominion voting machines and flipping millions of votes, still loses the House of Representatives to Republicans last time around. The Democratic Party that can control the weather still has natural disasters hit blue areas, costing a fortune for Democratic areas as well. It's not super coherent, but that's sort of Marjorie Taylor Greene's middle name. And before playing more from Real Time, the way I think this represents MAGA is how so often I think what they get fixated on is so real. But then it's like a hot dog, okay? Don't just wait, okay? Wait, gosh, I'm gonna explain. You have the hot dog wiener, and then you have the bun. The wiener is the real. I'm regretting this being the analogy I chose, but let's keep charging forward. The meat there is the real issue. But they wrap it in this bun, and the bun is nonsense, okay? Terrible. So no matter how real the bun or the wiener is, imagine the bun has poison in it. It's poisoned with conspiracy theories and lies. No matter how good, how real the wiener, the meat in the wiener is, the bun makes it such that the whole hot dog's so bad it would kill you if you ate it. So it's sort of meaningless that the wiener is such a real problem because of the poisoned bun. Does that make sense? So, on the border, there's a real wiener there. But because they insist on wrapping it with a bun that is poisonous, that it includes fabrications, lies, fear-mongering, dehumanization, the whole hot dog is terrible. And it's hard to engage with them on the hot dog at all. On the hurricane, the pain people are feeling because of the hurricane, the rage they want to direct somewhere, that's so real. But it's wrapped up. I could have done a taco. That would have saved me a lot of things. It's wrapped up in lies. So then the whole discussion around people's pain gets distracted from with Marjorie Taylor Greene's lies. And it's a huge bummer. So my goal is, if you're a MAGA person, try to figure out, and it's sort of funny, but figure out what the meat, what the core is of the issue that you think you care about, and try to see if you can extract from it all those carbohydrates, and get to the real stuff, because there might be something there. Like, you feeling distressed about the hurricane, that's so justified. You feeling distressed even about the border, justified. But what's real? What's fiction? What's meant to just rile you up? That would be the question I pose to you. Then this on a different subject from Bill Maher.
Count about a dozen different things that Kamala Harris was very much in favor for 4 years ago that she is no longer in favor for now. And when she's asked about it, which is rare because she doesn't really appear in public unless it is to go on The View and have an amen corner, when she is pushed on it, she says something like, I haven't changed my values. I mean, this isn't like an 8th grade social studies lecture.
Okay, but I must jump in as... I must jump in as the ref here. There you go. A little bit. And point out that you're judging her by the old standards that we've judged every other politician by. And by that way, I would say you're right. We see her flip-flop on issue after issue, which all politicians do. Trump's superpower is that he's so fucking insane and that he's such a... Wait a second. And that he's been such an inveterate liar about anything he just pulls out of his ass at any time, that's just baked into the cake and people accept that. Let me just tell you, this is just Trump this week.
And he goes through stuff we've covered, just Trump being absolutely outraged. Recently, talking about the military being mobilized to go after the enemy within. And recently, one of the enemy within examples he cited was Adam Schiff, a Democratic congressman, soon to be Democratic senator. And the core of the point that Bill Maher there is making is a fair one, which is there's certain things that I'd have more energy to discuss in terms of Kamala Harris criticisms if they weren't so shockingly minute compared to what's going on day to day with Trump. And when we do this thing of, no, I need to show that I'm so neutral that I'm going to do 10 stories about fracking with Kamala Harris's change in position over the course of 5 years, and then one story per 10 things that Trump has done that are crazy that day, that's not an accurate representation of what's important and what justifies a lot of discussion. So criticize over here. Don't do so just to artificially balance the scale when it's far from balance. And Trump being effing insane, as Bill Maher said, actually leads to people going, oh, well, he said 16 crazy things during his rally yesterday. We don't want to seem like we only talk about Trump, so let's just cover one of those clips. And then let's go get one clip we can criticize of Kamala Harris, and then it's all even. But that's not representative of what happened over the weekend, right? Or yesterday, or whenever you're talking about. And so I wish that we could get past that. And then I wish whoever the other guy was on that panel would agree that there was a time right when she became the presumptive nominee when Kamala Harris wasn't appearing in public that much, or I should say wasn't in unscripted public settings that often, because she didn't even have a chance yet to form her policy platform. Then she got the time to do that. She did the debate. And ever since the debate, I don't know why people keep making this point about she hasn't done any hard-hitting interviews. She doesn't do hard-hitting interviews. She sat down with CNN. If you think that was a softball, you're just kidding yourself. I won't list all of them because there's a bunch. There's like a local news station. I don't even know what that's called. Obviously, the MSNBC one. And then you have those more softball, like Colbert, I'd admit, there's more softball there, The View, easier. But then 60 Minutes, and she's about to do, as the New York Times reports, Kamala Harris sets an interview with a not-so-friendly outlet, Fox News. Fox News, who had to pay $787.5 million because they so brazenly did propaganda on behalf of Trump relating to the election, and she's willing to sit down with them. If there was any equivalent on the left to Fox News, Trump would never sit down with him. And if he did, he would storm out like he did with 60 Minutes. But 60 Minutes is not the Fox News of the left. They're actually doing journalism, unlike Fox News' nonsense. Now, Brett Baer's better than a Sean Hannity at doing more fair interviews, but this is going to be as hard-hitting as it gets, maybe even unfairly so. And she's willing to do it. But I hear 100 times a day that Kamala Harris isn't doing enough interviews. And I hear once a day that Trump doesn't do enough interviews with real journalists, not Fox News and Newsmax. And so then my thing is, I'm going to criticize Trump as much as it's warranted, which is a lot more than what's warranted for Kamala Harris. But one of the reasons I'm happy to see her doing this Fox News interview is I do agree the polls are too close. And that means you have to do full court press. She needs to do as many public appearances as possible, as many interviews, get in front of as many people, because it's going to come down to this last stretch of time. It's neck and neck right now, based on the polls. And so I do want her to do more. Call that a criticism, call that whatever. Do more. Hey, now let's talk about the 16 crazy clips from the Trump rally, you know? But so many people are so obsessed with artificially creating a more equal horse race than we should. Let me know what you think in the comments. Support the show. Get the members only bonus by clicking the join button below.